Hello and welcome to Sonic Lab. We've got Lee from Presonus here.
Hello, how you doing?
Hey, and you've come to show us Studio One. Now, Studio One has reached the grand old age of 4.5.
Absolutely, yeah.
Yeah.
It's also 10 years old, so
okay.
Relatively new in terms of DAW age in general, but Studio One, we're on 4.5 version now. And in terms of its age, it's kind of got some benefits in that it's written from the ground up.
Right.
We get a blank slate to design workflow, and also the code is pretty lean as well. So the download amount is very small as well. So
great. So I mean, 4.5. One of the big things is about efficiency and much more kind of. So, but before we look at that, let's just take a little overview about Studio One for people who maybe haven't even encountered it. So it's ostensibly a DAW. Yep. Like a Cubase or Logic, you know roughly what we're talking about.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. And again, nowadays people use different DAWs at the same time. And but basically, it will do everything you expect it to do: recording audio and MIDI and mixing. But also, it has some little different workflows and simplified.
Well, let's have a look at some of these features that you think are kind of unique to Studio One.
Yeah. Okay. Well, in Studio One, one of the main things is drag and drop. So. Basically, you can drag and drop everything. You're working off a single window interface. So you're not with overlapped windows and confused where you are in the DAW. You're always just on this one page. Yep. And drag and drop means you can pick from your instrument list. So at the bottom here, I've got a browser window. Yep. And everything lives in here, my instruments, my effects, and everything I need, my loops. You can drag something onto the screen, and it's one move. Is open my instrument, selected it, the preset, set up a track, and the mixer. If you multiply that out over a whole session, it means that was one move, where normally that takes you 4 or 5. So that's kind of the basic idea.
From the browser, we can get to effects, we can get to loops, files.
Exactly. So effects, I could just run in here and I could drag a delay, drag it straight on there.
Nice.
That's inserted direct. Or I could...
And there's a cloud tab as well.
Yeah, so cloud. So there's a few tabs here. You have instruments, you have effects, loops, files. You can kind of navigate to anywhere in the computer. Right. Your cloud tab is interesting because it allows you to log into the Presonus shop. Which means as you work, you can download some samples and things like that.
Okay.
Some add-ons to, say you've got a mid-range version of Studio One, which is the artist version. You can buy some add-ons that only exist in the Pro version and build your own version. SoundCloud and stuff like that. The point with this is that we're trying to keep you in Studio One and not having to leave your session to go to the internet. So your creativity
is sort of within the same environment for the whole project.
Exactly, yeah.
Excellent. Okay.
So that's the kind of basic workflow of how it works. But there are some features that you set it apart in some ways. In version 3, we particularly came out with some creativity features that would help you for writing, composition, things like that. Yeah. And for sound design as well, actually. And one of these is Arranger Track. So you'll see we've got a tab here called Arranger Track. Yep. And when I open that, I've got this lane. And that's usually empty. What I've done is I've drawn in some sections for the song.
And it auto-names as you draw it in.
It auto-names. It tries to guess what that section is. But
and presumably you can edit that easily.
You go in and you can change the name, and you can change the colour, etc. Nice. You need. So what's really cool about this, though, is you can start to swap sections around and start to experiment with moving whole sections around.
Right.
So
without having to get the scissors and
no scissors, exactly.
Split parts.
So I can put it on top of a section to replace it, or I can slip it in between. And what it's moving is my audio, my MIDI, my effects, automation. Everything's moving so fast. On top of that, then we have a thing called a scratch pad.
Yeah.
So this is an empty arrange page, which lives on top of your arrange, and you can drag any section in here and start to experiment from within here.
Nice.
What's important is I can't mess up my original part.
Right. So, like typically, I might go to the end of a song to do this, and then forget I've done all that and leave all my detritus there, and then when I do a mix down and give it to someone, I say, great song, but I thought the outro was a bit weird.
27-minute long song.
So you can do all of that in there.
Yeah, so this scratch pad is, you've got unlimited scratch pads. So I could go in here and change this to chorus version 2, for example.
Right.
And then I can just drag that back into the song.
You just drag it by grabbing that bit. decide where it wants to go.
And then go in here and add a new scratch pad.
Right.
So basically I can have like 10 choruses, 10 verses, all in here ready to go to swap in between. You know, radio edits and remixes is just like
interesting.
so fast.
Yeah, and then that window, you could drag it all the way over, I guess.
Yeah.
You could resize it.
You can actually drag an entire song into this window and then mess with the whole song.
Yep.
So, and then when you're done, you close it off and you're done.
Back to your arranger.
Another feature we have is chord track, and you'll see again the tab up beside the range track. We've got chord track. It opens another lane, and what we can do is we can extract the audio.
So play that track then. What we're extracting is a guitar track here.
Yeah, that's just the guitar track.
Okay, so there's chords and the
just chords there. If I right click, go to audio, and I can extract to chord track. So it's processing, and it's now given us each chord in each section.
So that's a polyphonic detection algorithm there, because we can see it's not just only brought a D minor, it's brought a D minor seventh in as well. So, because Cubase has got a chord track, but that can extract chords from MIDI, but this is actually extracting it from audio.
From audio, exactly.
Very powerful tool.
And what's really useful is you can actually get in there, and now you can change those chords from this kind of circle of fifths type thing. You can actually change through, and in version 4.5 we have this audition thing where you can actually listen to what you're going to do. So what happens here, you can go to each individual track and you can decide whether that track will follow the chord lane.
Right.
This is for audio and MIDI. So as you go along, I recorded one single chord there. I could like duplicate these out, and then I could, you know, choose
so those chords
for that to follow
the chord track.
Exactly, and it would follow, and then you see them actually changing to follow.
Neat.
It's such a quick way to work. You know, it does MIDI perfectly. Audio mostly does perfectly. Sometimes you might get a little weirdness in sound. It's to be expected, but the important use of this is for creativity and writing. For
the compositional part of it,
the whole section, you can just flip between different chord structures.
Nice.
That you might not have been able to using a guitar because, you know.
And presumably you could do this in your little scratch pad, maybe, like try a chorus with different, without having to mess with your...
Yeah, exactly. There's no particular chord track for the scratch pad, but it will take the whole chord session in with the changes.
Right.
So so that's a pretty cool feature for creativity and writing. So you're not just caught up in mixing, editing thing.
Right.
What else we got? Extended effects chains.
Oh.
So basically, you know, like any DAW, I'll just start a new one so it's nice and easy. Like in any DAW, you can insert your effects onto your channels, and you can have as many as you want. Let me see. So if I go into my effects tab here and drag over just a random set of plugins just to show you. Okay, so on each channel, you've got this macros channel editor. So we can see these on a list.
So they're all in there. And we're using just Presonus ones here, but you could use third-party ones as well?
Yeah, absolutely. So I've got them open down here in the bottom somewhere. Oh, we got Soundtoys or something. This is always good. Okay, so they're on our list.
So that just shows that this can be internal and external plugins.
Exactly, and you can rearrange these from here as well, and you know, putting EQs in front of compressors and all that sort of thing.
Yep, good.
But what's really cool is you can open this channel editor, and we can get into
look at that,
editing our plugins and how they're running in series, or we can split them. So if I introduce a splitter, now I'm kind of...
That's doing it on a stereo basis then?
Exactly, exactly. And then...
Could we do frequency splits then?
Exactly, so if you tab in here, you can change that to frequency split. It's on the bottom, and that's over two different bands.
Yeah.
But I can introduce up to 5 bands.
Oh, wow.
And now things get really interesting because we're doing multi-band.
So making a multi-band...
processing of any type
of any plugin you want, including third-party ones.
Exactly.
Okay.
We can also add splitters into splitters and stuff, so it can get it as crazy as you want. But again, the point is you're making creative, original effects chains that you haven't heard before in a preset. One other thing is really cool. You can use our Pipeline plugin.
Yeah.
So Pipeline allows you to insert outboard hardware directly into your software channel. or into an effects chain. So,
and that'll remember all the I/O settings for that particular path.
Yeah, so you can save. Basically, you select the output from your interface, and then the input. You save that as a preset, just like a plugin preset.
Nice.
And you can even do things like save a picture of your hardware, which is pretty cool.
That's cool.
So let me see.
So take a photo of.
Take a photo of your
settings,
and there it is, and you pop it in. There it is. If you need to reference it, which you will.
Very good idea.
There's notes on that as well that you can put in.
Yeah.
But getting back to the extended effects chain, this means you're combining software and hardware plugins.
Yeah. So internal plugins, external and hardware plugins. All
exactly in multi-band processing. So
wow. Okay.
Very cool. Okay. So what else? So these are all kind of features that I like, and they separate Studio One a little bit from the normal workflow. Another one is multi-instrument. So if I go and again drag an instrument on there, it will set up the channel with the instrument on there. But I can start to add. I'll just close this to show you. I can start to add instruments on top of that.
Okay. So
now it asks me, do I want to
keep combine or replace?
Yeah.
So combine, I guess, is it?
Combine.
Yeah.
Exactly.
So it's a bit like the effects then. So you can build a chain of software of instruments.
Yeah, and it's kind of like, again, it's an original sound. It's in the sound design world.
Yeah.
You won't hear this as a preset again. And you can keep building them on with different samplers.
Yeah, and I see you can change the ranges, so there's sort of layers or splits.
Exactly.
Yeah.
You can also add processing to each individual instrument. Then you can do the whole processing for the whole channel as well. Save this as a preset, and then it's your own kind of original instrument that you won't ever hear again. You can get as weird as you want to get.
Wow. Okay. Brilliant.
So let me see. We've got project page.
Oh, project page! Hallelujah!
Yeah.
Yes.
I know you're familiar with.
This is I bought Studio One version 1 way back when, and I still use it to this day. I do all my mastering in it.
Nice.
And I think that people don't realise just what a powerful platform it is as a mastering tool. Studio One. It's something that's for me is its most unique feature. I use it like daily. It's why I like it is it just simplifies the process of like an album montage creation.
You can add all your tracks together on this one session and work on it as a whole.
Yeah, but there's like some really good professional features in there. For instance, you've got your DDP export, so you can make a Redbook CD from there for those people working in that ancient platform.
The pro guys.
Yeah, but actually you can also DDP import, so you can create your DDP, but then you can bring it back in and check that everything is as it is, putting in your ISRC codes, do digital release from here, so you can create it in MP3 or different compressed formats. I love all of that. It's all in one place, and you got your kind of loudness meters on there,
correlation
as well.
meters, lots of professional metering,
and the Bobcat's case system metering.
Exactly, it's all in there as well.
Yeah, so if you're into mastering, you should check this out, because for me, I think that's the best platform I've ever found for mastering.
Yeah, this is just in the professional version of Studio One, but it is a fully featured professional mastering suite.
So I'm just going to hold it then. And so you said about the professional version. So Studio One comes in like in 3.
Yeah, that's correct. There's Prime, which is free, so you can download that, and it's got lots of features in there. There's the artist version, which is the medium version. It's like 99 euros. I work in euros, and that again is, you can do a full professional production in that. Lots of free plugins built in that, Impact and stuff like that as well.
Impact's in that,
which is really cool.
Okay.
And then you've got the Pro version, which is like 399 euros.
And that's what
included with the software mastering, included with tons and tons of features. But what's interesting, again, back to the Presonus shop I mentioned earlier, you can build on Artist and buy individual add-ons, so VST compatibility and things like that. So you can build up your version without having to buy the full Pro version.
Oh, that's quite cool. So when we're looking at 4.5, what are the main headline features, would you say, that gives 4.5 its kind of interesting?
So we've introduced some features. It was actually 70 new features, which I won't be able to do all of them. But we've introduced some features that kind of speed up again your workflow. And then if you've been using Studio One regularly, maybe there's some things that you're used to that it doesn't go into your workflow. So we've tried to improve that. Yeah. And the first place to do that is with groups, actually. So let me see. I'm going to set up a few channels here just to group.
Okay.
So what we can do is we can select multiple channels, and we can create a group for this.
Group selected tracks.
Group selected tracks and colored vocals.
So this could be a batch of backing vocals and
exactly, yeah. and it's not like an audio subgroup as such.
Right.
It's more of a group for functions like maybe fades, edits, things like that. So yeah. But what's cool is we can hold in Alt and move individual features from that group. So that was always in there. But what we've introduced now is this new tab, which allows you to open this group section. If I right click this,
right,
we've now the option to
decide
what
elements
to be in that group.
Okay,
yeah, so you can see that pan is switched off, and so that the
pans are all independent.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, from each other.
Then obviously switch it on, and you've got that. Also editing as well, which is really important.
Track edits.
Exactly. So you're group editing drums and stuff like that all in one go. So it's really cool.
Okay.
Or not.
Or not.
Yeah.
Okay. So you find that by that little icon.
That little tab. Yeah. There's another one down here actually in the console.
Okay.
We'll bring you there too. So we've tried to improve that workflow. On top of that, then we've introduced some features like being able to lock your channel.
So to stop accidental edits.
Yeah, so if you're really happy with something you've recorded and editing or whatever, you sometimes you move things you don't know how they move, but it happens.
I didn't move it. I swear to God, I didn't do it. Not my fault.
The dog. So you have this option here is toggle time lock.
Yep.
Means you can't move it.
Okay.
And then we've got another one in here, which is toggle edit lock.
So you can't edit
can't chop it. Can't do anything wrong with it.
Yeah. Okay.
And then you've got one for the actual whole track, which is lock track. So a lock pops up there. Yeah. Okay. And that's you pretty much safe.
Yeah.
Okay, so we've also got the efficiency, I suppose we should mention.
Yes.
Has been improved.
Yeah, this is a big.
Like 70%.
70. Wow. How have you managed that?
So it's a use of cores really. So we were using individual cores for multi-instrument.
So the multi-instrument would all exist on a single core?
Yeah, so now it's optimized for multiple cores.
Great.
With our sampler as well and our MIDI synth as well. So you'll really notice that now when you're using it. Some guys are really going heavy because MIDI in particular sounds great, so you want to keep putting it on there. So you've got multiple cores now.
Okay, that makes sense.
We've also got I/O routing, I/O tab.
Yep.
And that's your matrix that you're used to seeing. Previously, if you wanted to use a new interface with your session, you'd have to go open your matrix.
Remap it all.
Start mapping, sit there for half an hour, get a cup of tea.
Yeah.
Now what we've done is we can import and export your mapping. So if you've got multiple interfaces that you maybe use mobile or...
Well, look at this thing here, the Quantum.
Yeah.
What's this? How many channels is on here?
So that's 32 analog
32.
I/O.
Right.
On D subs on the back.
Yeah.
Thunderbolt 2.
So you don't want to have to be mapping that every session, do you?
Absolutely. And you've 16 I/O as well, so it's 48, 48.
48, wow.
So you save that. Actually, I've got one saved there.
Okay.
You can recall that. And then you might switch to a smaller unit for maybe mobile recording or something.
And you could name those inputs then.
You can name them all.
And that will store that in that setting then.
And you can change the colours, so all of your drums are orange or green, whatever.
Yeah. Surely drums should be pink.
Pink, this is not an obvious choice.
Right.
What's really important is you can reset to default.
Okay.
Which means, your main rig, if you go back to your studio, you just want to...
Go back to your main default.
And you're ready to
Very
go
helpful.
again.
Yeah.
So this has been a major feature request from users actually to be able to do this. So it simplifies workflow.
Yep.
Another thing is plugin manager, actually.
Okay.
So you'll see now in the browser at the bottom we've got plugin manager.
Yeah.
And you've got so many plugins these days, VSTs, audio units, there's so many, and sometimes you have double instances that you don't need to be showing up.
Yeah.
So you can search for what you've got by these filters, and then you can just switch them off. That's really it.
Because if you've got VST2 and VST3, because this is VST3 compatible, then turn all the VST2 ones off. That you don't need of the same one.
Absolutely.
Yeah, the duplicates. Yeah.
That is your choice as well. Sometimes that can mean that you open a session and it only has a VST2, but so you have to be kind of careful. But
and a blacklist as well for plugins that are giving you grief.
Absolutely. Yeah. And another important one when you
the naughty corner that
absolutely, you don't want to be in there. When you start up Studio One as well, you have the choice whether it does that annoying thing of scanning all of your plugins or not. So you can switch that.
Okay, that's useful.
Yeah, absolutely. Another thing we introduced was you'll see that there's a setting wrench kind of around the place in Studio One, and it gives you different options. In the console now, we have a new tab called Input.
Input controls. Okay.
So what this gives you is input trim gain.
Right.
So this is really useful if you're using a lot of outboard stuff.
And this isn't going to control the gains on your interface. It's only going to control post preamp gain.
It actually does with some of our stuff.
Okay.
With our live mixer and quantums and things that actually Studio 192.
Okay, that's excellent.
But if you're using an external pre or something that you kind of want to run a bit hot and it's coming in just too hot, you can trim it back now on the channel or on the input channel. And also, before you'd have to go to the event gain and actually just manually drag it down. That's one thing.
And phase
invert as well. So not all outboard has phase, and it's a real.
Yeah.
It basically saves you having to bring in another plugin to do those different tasks.
Utility, but
exactly, a mix tool or something. That's what we have.
Okay, that's good to see.
So what else have we got? Video. We have a video player that syncs up with your audio obviously perfectly, but previously you'd have to bounce the audio and video separately. So we've introduced embedded video. So it's a simple one, but very, very requested.
Yeah, definitely.
So that's an improvement we've done. Macros panels, it's a big one. So at the top of your screen, you've got this tab.
That turns on the macro panel.
Turns on your macros panel. So macros are like a set of buttons that you can assign from a list of actions. So it could be normalize and, zoom to
you
screen.
Choose what's in there.
So, and one button could trigger maybe 20 features.
Right. And you can build these macros then. You can
You can customize them from in here. So it's a macro organizer.
Okay.
Edit macros. You type in, again, like normalize, it'll pop up here and you just send it across actually. Add to the macro. Actually, what's really cool is we have a Studio One remote on iPad or device.
Actually, that is a very good feature.
That has macros on it as well. These same ones.
So the macros will appear on it.
Yeah, and you just trigger from your iPad. Super cool.
Yeah, I have to say that I think out of all of the DAW editors that I've seen on iPad, I think the Studio One is the best actually.
It's pretty fully featured. You're controlling plugins and stuff as well. It's really nice. There's an XY panel as well that you can actually assign to different features.
Pad type
exactly,
stuff.
It's really, really nice. Also, when you set up your buttons, there's a really cool thing in that you can set some icons as well.
Oh, nice.
So, like this loop thing, for example, if I bring in tape or something, I did it already here, but basically it sets up a panel that's got visual cues that you can start to really move fast.
So really, that's all about individual personalization. That macro panel there.
Absolutely. And now we have a macro panel in Studio One 4.5 on your edit page.
Oh, okay. So
that's for audio editing and for MIDI.
Yeah.
And what's nice is that you can actually have a different set of macros.
Different macros for whatever you're working on.
So those MIDI actions, you don't need that for an audio editor.
Okay.
So,
nice.
That's useful. You can design it as you want.
Okay.
So let me see. The last thing I really want to show you, because I think we've touched a lot, is note actions with MIDI. So if we record some MIDI, I'll need to just draw on a note. You'll see on the actions panel, we've got a ton of features here now.
Nice.
Again, these lean more back to the creativity side of things. You're randomizing notes.
So you would select what notes, and you can do that on single notes or multiple notes.
Exactly, and empty spaces you can fill notes or thin out notes, and it's also kind of fully featured in that when you click it, you've got
like another set of parameters
in which way you want that to work. Now, if you assign some of these features to some macros as well, you're starting to like really trigger some really fast creative tools.
Right.
Really, really fast.
So I'm imagining something. It could be like the song. You've got your chord track. You could kind of group your MIDI notes and make sure that they all conform.
Yeah, exactly. Absolutely.
To the chords or to the scales.
Absolutely, or not.
Yeah, great.
Yeah, so that's a big improvement. MIDI in general, if you're living in that world, this will really speed things up for you, and again bring out the creative, individualistic style of working.
So loads of good stuff.
It's so much stuff, and there's obviously lots more in there. Okay. It's a really nice audio engine in Studio One as well.
And 4.5, it's out now.
Yep.
And it's a free update for owners of Studio One version 4.
Yeah, exactly. Like with Studio One, we do the major updates that you pay for. Obviously, not too much. But in between these major updates, we give you so many free updates with free features, bug fixes and things. So this particular one, 4.5, has like 70 features or something for free. Yeah. And there was 4.2 as well, had lots of features. And there will be more before version 5 comes as well.
Okay,
so
cool.
Lots and lots of features and 3 different versions as well. So you don't have to buy the full Pro one. You can maybe buy this and get the software bundled, or an audio box or something like that. It's a great way to get into
So the audio box is a little audio interface, and that comes with a copy of
Studio One Artist as well. Yeah, so
bargain.
yeah, absolutely.
Isn't that cheaper than buying Studio One Artist on its own?
Kind of is.
So there's a bargain there.
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay, excellent. Well, Lee, thanks so much for showing us.
That was great. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you.
Cheers, guys.
Thanks.